Today on Monkey Life. The last of the bachelors for Ben. But will Buxom let him join the gang?
You don't want the group to be too harmonious because that's boring.
A reluctant lemur refuses to meet her new troop.
Kaiyah, you coming outside?
And an orangutan foster mum decides she's had enough of hers. This is Monkey World in Dorset. Tucked away deep in the English countryside, it's the largest sanctuary for monkeys and apes on the planet. And this is Dr. Alison Cronin, the primate's best friend. Alison and her team spend their lives rescuing...
Okay, quick, because the other one's back against the wall.
...and rehabilitating primates from all over the world.
Good boy.
They currently look after more than 240 monkeys and apes from 16 different species. Young chimp Ben's been on a bit of a journey since he graduated from the park's nursery. He couldn't find his place in Hananya's family group. But recently, the team's attempts to slowly integrate him into the Bachelors have been going well. Jeremy thinks he's made the right choice.
If you want to have a good time, if you want to have a good, consistent time, go and hang about with people of your own gender. Particularly with blokes, because they are what they are. What you see is what you get. If you annoy me, I'll smack you in the mouth. If you don't, we'll be OK. And, you know, we can hang out and, you know, and have some fun. And these guys have a lot of fun. And, you know, it's a sort of... treating the bachelor group as a punishment, if you like, is a bit unfair because actually it's a good place to be.
Ben's settled in well. He's coped with meeting leader Butch and his often quarrelsome Lieutenant Jester. Today, he's meeting the last of the group, Buxom, Jester's half-brother, and another right-hand man to Butch.
The people we always do last on the Bachelor introductions are Buxom and Jester. They're actually the ones that were rescued from Windsor Safari Park, and they had more hooligan tendencies than any ones that we've rescued from any other beach photographers, laboratories, or anything else. But having said that, in the years that they've been here, a lot of the spiteful aspects of them are not nearly so bad. But anyway, we always save Buxom and Jester to last. And Jester went in 2 or 3 days ago and he's fine. And today Buxom goes in and is sorted.
Ben's having a relaxing morning and the rest of the group are chilling out. Buxom's being kept separate from his pals, but now he's allowed to rejoin them. He's out like a bullet. Butch is pleased to see him. And the other bachelors greet him noisily. Wary Ben steers clear to avoid confrontation. And when Butch charges forward with Buxom in tow, Ben beats a hasty retreat. He heads straight to new best pal Sammy for reassurance, and within seconds, the whole group settled down again.
He's a very clever boy. Watching him so far, he's done so well. He keeps right out of trouble, and he doesn't miss a trick. So, yeah, we just cross your fingers. But you don't want the group to be too harmonious, because that's boring. You've got to have a bit of politics going on to make life interesting.
Ben's not the only one in the park graduating to a new group. Kaiyah, the young lemur, is on the move today too. Alison brought her back to the park from Belfast after she was contacted by a family who discovered lemurs don't make suitable pets. Kaiyah has been living with older dominant female Fennel, but now they're off to the lemur enclosure at Malagasy, so Kaiyah can meet the park's 8 male lemurs. No one's quite sure what she'll make of them. Sandra and Donna have come to collect the 2 girls from the temporary bedrooms for the short journey across the park. Visitors to the park are often intrigued by the presence of the lemurs. They look so different to the other rescued monkeys and apes, but in fact, they're also primates.
These guys are not actually monkeys or apes. They're called prosimians, which basically they're the forerunners, evolutionary-wise, to all of the monkeys and apes. Lemurs come from Madagascar only, and it's separated off from the rest of Africa. So what's believed to have happened is that early primates, in terms of evolution, floated across to Madagascar and then started evolving into all of the niches on Madagascar in the absence of any other primates or competition. So lemurs are very unique in the sense that they've retained many of the primitive features of primates, and they're sort of a transition or a forerunner, if you will, to all of the other monkeys and apes that evolved after them. And you can see it in their basic sort of setup. They've got a long muzzle that's covered in fur and a very wet nose, like a dog or a cat. And that gives you a clue to what's the most important aspect of a lemur's life, and that would be scent. You can see with the lemurs, and the shape of their face, their eyes are slightly a bit more offset, which is why they have this big long muzzle with all of the sinuses. And then in addition to that, when you watch the lemurs, you can see they have scent glands on their wrists and around their anus. So really, these guys are geared up to view the world in a very different and more primitive way than the rest of the monkeys and apes, and that follows through into their behavior and ecology.
Young ring-tailed Kaiyah's not met any of the other lemurs yet, apart from Fennel. But she's about to join the gang at the 1-acre, tree-filled enclosure at Malagasy. Normally, the park's lemurs roam around at will, enjoying the trees, rope ladders and swings. But today, the routine's a little bit different.
We're keeping everything contained in what we call their overnight pen. They'll be in here for a few days yet. We've still got to double-check the perimeter of the enclosure anyway to make sure it's Kaiyah-proof, Kaiyah-friendly. Obviously, having all the boys in the overnight pen already, we've actually got a bit of control over the situation. If we did the introduction in the outside enclosure, we've got no control really because they can disappear up trees and all over the place.
Kaiyah will be given plenty of time to meet the male lemurs in the pen and get used to seeing open spaces for the first time. Eventually, she'll have the chance to experience the outdoors, a bit like life in the wild. Kaiyah and Fennel go into their overnight wooden pens where they can access the outside when they're ready. It's no big deal for Fennel, but it gives Kaiyah some added security.
We've given them outside access, and Fennel obviously knows the enclosure, so she's come straight out. And hopefully with a bit of encouragement, Kaiyah will brave the outdoors and decide to come and have a mooch around as well.
But at the moment, it's not quite going to plan.
Kaiyah, come on!
While the boys patrol, Kaiyah stays put.
Kaiyah, you coming outside?
Kaiyah. Doesn't look like she's going to be out anytime soon. She sort of seems quite settled at the back of the enclosure at the moment.
Eventually, Kaiyah has a tentative look outside.
There she is, scared them all.
And then gets up the courage to venture out of the shed.
Good girl.
It's been a good start for young Kaiyah, and the team are pleased with her progress.
She has been poking her head out, but now she's decided to come out fully. She still is a little bit wary, but hopefully next time she will spend a bit more time outside and stay there a bit longer. But it's all going very well at the moment. She's come outside, so that's exactly what we wanted.
Over the weekend, something's changed down at the lemur enclosure at Malagasy. All the male ringtails have been released back into the outside enclosure. But young female Kaiyah, who had just joined the group, isn't with them. The primate care team have taken her back to the temporary bedrooms across the park after spotting something was wrong.
She had a deep injury to her groin area, and it had basically one of her veins had been completely severed, so that's where she was losing some blood from. And I had to put 3 layers of sutures in because it was such a deep wound. So it took about an hour to do the surgery. It was quite a big job.
But the keepers aren't sure exactly what happened.
The problem with ringtails is they have razor-sharp teeth, and one bite causes quite a nasty injury, and it's also quick. Before this happened, she was doing fine with some individuals, and Sirius had spent the whole day that day sat in with her. George spends a lot of time sitting with her as well, and Renton, so she seems to be doing well within the group. It's just whether this was an isolated incident or just an accident where she got caught in the middle of something.
It's impossible for the team to know who was responsible for the injury, and it probably wasn't deliberate. But to help Kaiyah recuperate, Toby is collecting fennel to keep her company.
Hey, fennel. Gonna do it.
So, only days after leaving the temporary bedrooms to join the boys, the girls are back.
There you go.
And it means a 2-week recovery period for Kaiyah.
She's doing really well, but we do need her to take it easy, ideally for a couple of weeks, so she doesn't tear the muscle at all. So, not too much jumping, Kaiyah.
New arrivals at the park can often take a while to settle in, and the 2 most recent are no exception. They're an unusual pair of newcomers, cotton-top Tamarinds, the first the team have ever been asked to look after. Uncas and Alice were rescued by the RSPCA, and because they were the first cotton-tops at Monkey World and there was no established group for them to join, the team introduced them to the common marmosets, another small monkey species from South America.
They're pretty intimidating characters, the cotton-tops, visually, vocally, and in terms of their attitude, they're a bit stroppy too. So the common marmosets better mind their P's and Q's, I think.
But it wasn't a match made in heaven.
Gradually, as time progressed, we found that actually they didn't really like each other's company. The marmosets didn't like them there. And even if they weren't together, being in rooms next to each other still wasn't a good idea. And so now the Tamarinds are just living together as a pair. And they just seem a lot happier over here. They're away from everybody else on their own. It seems to be what they want.
Their new living environment is a big leap from the conditions they were found in.
Where Alice and Uncas came from, where they was kept as pets, as far as we're aware, they only had a small bird cage which they could live in, and that's it. Whereas here they've got quite a big inside enclosure, which is actually split into 2, which means that they can get away from each other if they do feel stressed or if they just don't want to be around each other. And also they've got a nice outside enclosure as well. It's got lots of different plants in it which encourage different insects as well, which is important for their protein, so they hunt them.
They're also being given a balanced diet, which contains all the protein and nutrients they need.
Today they've got melon, cooked sweet potato, peas, some apple and some cooked mince.
The extra special care is paying off for the cotton-tops.
They seem to be a lot healthier than they were when they first arrived at the park. Particularly Alice, her hair was quite greasy. It wasn't really matted, but you can just tell that she wasn't groomed regularly. Whereas now, if you look at her, her hair's in really good condition. It's a lot more fluffy. Uncas is a lot more confident and he's definitely the dominant one of the two. Sometimes he will sort of push Alice around a little bit, but she just gives a little scream and he'll go away again. But they do seem very relaxed now, and they seem really happy in the enclosure that we've provided for them.
Over the last few months, the park's had the builders in. They've been working on a new state-of-the-art home for the Orangutan Nursery group. Unlike most building work, it hasn't gone entirely to plan. The enormous, specially made, extra-thick orangutan-proof glass for the front viewing windows met with disaster. And it's taken weeks for new glass to arrive from Germany. But at long last, it's turned up and been fitted without a hitch. The interior windows, which need to be installed between the playroom and the bedrooms, have also arrived and are being put in place. Very carefully. Once all the glass is secured and the internal fixtures are done, it won't be long before the youngsters, Linga, Dinda, Xiaoning and Jolie, and foster mum Armee can move in. In the meantime, keepers Penny and Rita are organising some enrichment for them. In the wild, orangs are confident around water. They get plenty of liquid from their native diet of forest fruits and leaves, but they will also drink from natural basins. At the current nursery, the youngsters sip from water drinkers secured to the mesh, but they don't have their own pond or pool. To keep life interesting, the care team are filling water buckets and have added a few extra touches for fun, including pine cones, fruit, and some bubbles. The youngsters are led out by foster mum Armee. She was rescued in Taiwan after being smuggled from Borneo for the illegal pet trade. She has proved to be an excellent adoptive mother. But this morning, the youngsters seem more interested in their breakfast than the colourful water buckets. Jolie is the first to investigate, but isn't convinced and spills the water. But clever Armee's got a plan for the empty bucket. Until, that is, Jolie decides she wants it back for herself and drinks Armee's siphoned off water. With Armee's own bucket empty, it isn't long before she works out where to go for a refill. The keepers dutifully oblige. Linga's not bothered about the contents, preferring to play with the brightly coloured container. And Xiaoning is only interested in her broccoli breakfast. It seems Armee is the one who's got the most out of the experience. But with the young ones barely showing any interest, getting away from it all seems the perfect option. The primate care team think they've solved a mystery over at the Gibbon House. Golden-cheeked Peanut had a baby recently, but because the infant was so small and clung so securely to mum, no one could tell if it was a boy or a girl. The infant is now more than a month old.
We are 99-point-something% sure it's a female, which is really good news. We've had a few good looks at it, and yes, we're prepared to put money on it now that it's a female. To begin with, we kept a very close observation on it to see that it was suckling, which it is doing. It's starting to look a bit more alert now, just occasionally moving his or her head around a little bit, starting to take notice of things. We're starting to see a bit more movement in the fingers and toes now, and generally doing very well indeed.
The new female golden-cheeked gibbon also has more fur than when she was born, and has been welcomed into the family by Dad, Peng Yo, and brother Tien. Mum Peanut is coping well.
She's a bit more relaxed with this one. With Tien, she was a lot more conscious of having the baby on her abdomen. With this one, she's a lot more confident, not to the point where she's blasé, but she's certainly almost from the 2 days after the birth, she was pretty much back to normal. The first day she was quite tired, she was lying down quite a lot. The second day, a little bit tired. Third day, straight onto normal behaviour. So yeah, she's a lot more confident with this one, and she's also a lot more comfortable with it as well. The two boys actually started spending a lot more time together just before the birth, but since then as well, they've been spending a lot of time playing together, almost hanging out together, because Peanut's focus is now on the new baby more than Tien. So it's quite good for Tien as well. He's now got his sort of male role model, so he's hanging out with his father quite a lot.
But although they're almost certain the new baby's a girl, the team will still wait a while before naming her, just to make sure. Next time on Monkey Life, an operation for Peanut. But will her baby stay on board?
25 breaths a minute.
She's good.
And the boys have a bachelor party.